Vinyl records are cool again, but just because some hipster douchebags convinced you to pull out your parents' old turntable doesn't mean that you're getting very good sound. Now, older folk who grew up with records may remember them as the awful sounding poppy and staticky music experience that they gladly ditched when the CD came around. Now, whoever you are, whatever your age, you can get really good sound without clicks, without pops, without hisses from a record, and at a relatively inexpensive price by using these common practices on cleaning, caring for, and of course, playing your records. Record storage is very important. Store your records upright and never let them stack on top of each other. Storing records horizontally causes them to warp and may make them unplayable. Now, if you don't have a bookshelf that's wide enough to hold the entire base of an LP, consider getting an LP storage box. Now, you can find nice ones on Amazon for $50, or you can get cheap cardboard ones for literally the price of lunch. I've even found this box from IKEA that costs $6 and works an absolute dream. I've left some in the video description below, so you can check those out. Number 2, make sure that all of your records have inner sleeves, and good ones. Most LPs come with these awful paper sleeves that do more bad than good. They can scratch the record, they leave paper flakes on the record surface, and they add static, which I'll talk about in a minute, to the record itself. Now, my sleeves of choice are the MoFi Master sleeves. They're durable, they're anti-static, they're high-density polyethylene, and they prevent any scratching. Now, they are a little pricey at about $20 for a pack of 50, but it's a small price to pay when you're really preserving your records. I also really like the Disckeeper audio sleeves, which are similar to the MoFi sleeves in price and of course in quantity. Both are linked in the video description below. Number 3, handling your records. Don't be a dummy. I see so many people touch the record surface with their bare hands and it makes me cringe. Only handle a record by the edges and by the label. Obviously, if your hands are dirty or they're wet, you shouldn't touch a record at all, and of course, don't let the record sit out to accumulate dust. Once you're done playing it, put it back in its sleeve and store it properly, vertically. Oh, and don't try to remove records to your platter while it's spinning. You're just asking for them to get scratched. Number 4, dealing with dust on your records. Those pops and clicks that you hear when listening to a record is the stylus, or as noobs call it, the needle, hitting a piece of dust, a dust particle. Think of how a record player actually works. A near microscopic stylus, yes, a needle, is being dragged through a groove, a channel that is 30 microns wide. That's more than half the width of a human hair. So yeah, a tiny little dust particle is going to make some noise. Not just that, but plain dusty records can cause serious damage to the stylus. Buy a carbon fiber brush for your records. They cost about $15. So how do you use them? Well, this is a debate that people will go crazy over, but I've found the Deca method to be most effective. Turn your turntable on and gently place the brush at a right angle with the record surface. Now let the record spin a few times round, bring the brush to the center of the record, and let the bristles, which are conductive but not metal, touch the spindle. This will discharge the small static electricity that you generated from using the brush, and then lift straight up. The dust will follow the brush. I've linked a few of the carbon fiber brushes I like most in the video description below. Dealing with dust on your stylus. Now, this box is called a cartridge. The cantilever is that tiny little arm that connects the cartridge to the stylus. Don't call the stylus a needle, just don't. And for the record, they're not called vinyls. Call them records or LPs. Are we clear? Okay. Now, just as your record attracts dust, so will the stylus. You might even be able to see the grime with your naked eye. Now, cleaning the stylus is easy, but keep in mind that the cantilever and stylus are both very fragile, so please exercise caution. Now, there are a few methods, and I will mention the two most popular. The first is by using a stylish brush. Don't be cheap and use your record brush. Just don't. You will damage the stylus, okay? Stylus brushes are made from different materials and they cost less than $5, so just don't be cheap. Now, gently brush the back of the cartridge to the front with your stylus brush. Do not brush front to back or side to side, as you will damage the cantilever. Back to front, back to front, back to front. Are we clear? What direction? Okay, good. Now, this method will get rid of all of the grime, but the more expensive and easier, not to mention safer and more effective method, is by using an Onzo Zero Dust. Now, these things used to be stupidly overpriced, but have come down a lot recently in price. You can get them for about $25 to $30. Now, the Zero Dust has a gelatinous plastic that clings onto anything it touches. So make sure that your tone arm is unlocked and gently lift the arm up a few millimeters with the Zero Dust. Boom, dust gone. It's that easy. I've linked both products in the video description below. Number 6, dealing with static. Static electricity runs rampant with all records and all record players. Now, it's especially worse in dry and arid climates like where I live, but if you're in a humid area, you'll still have to worry about it a little. Not as much, but even still, vinyl, which is PVC, keep that in mind, is prone to static in its nature. Static charges against the record when you pull it out of the sleeve, when you use your record brush, heck, when you walk across the carpet to put it on your turntable, even the Earth's rotation will give your LP a static charge. Slowly, but surely it will. Now, static is especially bad for dust because your record and the stylus become like magnets, attracting every particle in proximity. Now, record brushes remove minor cases of dust and static, but they won't discharge the record completely. So how do you? Well, this. No, this is not a gun, and no, it's not the only way of discharging your record, but it's by far the most effective way. It's called the Milty Zero Stat, and you guessed it, it's overpriced. Most cost about $90 to $100, but you can get them for less on eBay if you find them used. Now, a few squeezes of the trigger and a stream of ions eliminate the static electricity. It kind of sounds like snake oil, but it works. I was skeptical myself, but it does. And it works well. Now, zero stats have been used for decades in many different industries like photography labs, not just for listening to records. But not only will they eliminate static, they also lower the noise floor of your record. So if you follow the next step, however, you may not need to buy this, because the next step is probably the most important. Number 7, cleaning your records. Take a look at this record underneath an electron microscope. You can see that there are tiny particulates of dust, dirt, and grime. Well, guess what? Your human eye can't see it, and neither will the brush pick that up. But your cartridge's stylus will. Most of the time when people think a record is really badly scratched, it isn't. It's just dirty. So how do you improve the sound? Well, wet cleaning. Yeah, wet cleaning. Not only will wet cleaning remove the debris and make the record move from this to this, see how much better that is? But it also eliminates all static for up to a year or more, eliminating noise floor, which people think is constant in all records. That when you put a record down, that's static. You can get rid of that. Now, I actually even clean all of my new records that I buy because many come rather contaminated straight from the factory. It's not necessary, but I do notice a large improvement. They're much quieter, there's no pops or clicks, and it's really, really great. So how do you do it? Well, the fancy folk buy record cleaning machines that do all of the work automatically. They're super convenient and they're easy, but they start at about $500 and don't do an amazing job until you pay over $1,000. Not ideal. I wasn't going to shell out the money for that. Now, the most popular method is using a spin clean, which are available for $70 on Amazon, but I hated mine. It was super laborious and it didn't do a very good job. I've since bought the GEM Dandy hydraulic LP cleaning apparatus. Yeah, that's its name. It does an amazingly good job and it amazingly cleans records, but it's also really frustrating. This thing, which is cheap PVC, costs $170. Yeah, it's overpriced. And yeah, you could probably build your own. And maybe you should. It comes with a nice supply of cleaning solution, which you can buy separately, keep that in mind. But it's some of the best in the industry, that record cleaning solution. And then when you use a stream of hydraulic water, you just use from your house, and spray all of the junk that is stuck in the grooves, everything is included and it cleans the whole record really, really well. Even better than some of the most expensive record cleaning machines. That said, it's still overpriced PVC, the cleaning is messy, and it's really laborious. It's not fun, and it kind of sucks. There's really no easy way to do it unless you buy one of these really expensive record cleaning machines, but pretty much everyone will tell you that cleaning an LP is necessary, and that is because it is. You'll notice that the pops and the clicks and all that other stuff that you thought was terrible in your records disappear almost immediately after a wet cleaning. Listen to this record that's been recently wet cleaned. Sounds good, right? Luckily, you only have to wet clean your records about every 50 plays or so. You can go years in between record cleans, and if you use steps 1 through 6 in this video to do maintenance in between wet cleans to keep your records as clean as possible, it will be great. You'll be able to go for a long time without having to pull your record cleaner out. Now, I've left the links below to the GEM Dandy along with other similar solutions for under $150, and I've also included the best record cleaning machines that have the $500 price range for the lazy folk willing to shell out a little bit more upfront for more convenience. And that's all there is to it. Now you can show those hipster tools that told you to get into records how much better your setup sounds because you've properly cleaned, cared for, and of course, handled your LPs. That'll show them. If this video helped you out, we'd appreciate a like. If you thought it sucked, then a thumbs down will do. But in any case, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.